there's one thing that right now currently may be holding you back from reaching your full potential, from reaching that goal that you've been wanting to achieve for so freaking long. I've been doing a bunch of one-on-one coaching calls recently. This is something that when people go to my website, they're like, I want help. I've been staying stuck. I keep switching direction. I don't really know what to do to actually hit my fitness goal. They book a session with me. We have a session and we get to the bottom of what's been holding them back, create a clear plan as to how they can move forward and actually finally achieve the goals that they want to achieve. And there is this one thing that keeps coming back again and again and again that seems to be the reason, the cause of why someone isn't actually able to reach the goal that they want to reach. And I have a busy day today. I was about to jump my way to the gym for a quick session before I had to move on to other things that I have planned for the day. But I think that this message is so important because if you get it, and this is something that resonates, something that you've been stuck in, it could potentially be the thing that finally makes you make that shift, that switch inside of your brain and finally make it happen. And it can come in different forms. And first, I want to see if you by any chance potentially can relate to either of these examples. One example being that you want to get in great shape. You want to get maybe potentially back to the shape that you used to have, or you've seen a lot of cool people on Instagram doing cool things at the gym and you want to be one of those baddies. But you keep hearing so many different things. So you try all the things. You go keto for 2 weeks, then you try the vegetarian diet, the vegan diet, then you try intermittent fasting, then you try the raw meat eating diet, and then you try Pilates because people say that that's what you need to do to lose thigh fat. But then you remember that you have to train weights because other people are telling you to do that. And then you start training for a marathon because that burns a lot of calories, and you keep switching up. So each of these things, both with the diet and with the training, you stick to for about a couple of weeks and then you move on to the next because you're not seeing the results. Or maybe you fell off track, something traumatic happened in your life, which man, life can be freaking tough. And because of that, you took a step back. You got out of the good routines that you'd been in. And now you've caught yourself in a spiral of doing things on a daily basis that don't make you feel good, that aren't in alignment with your goals. And you keep doing them again and again and again, because when you think of what you need to do to reach your goal, you feel like you still don't have the perfect plan. You feel like you still need to figure out what's the best way to go about it. And then you stay stuck. You stay in this pattern of maybe you keep analyzing what you should do or researching or thinking about it, but nothing really ever happens. Maybe you can relate to one of these two. And what they have in common is this thing called perfectionism. And I'm going to share with you how you can completely get rid of anything that has to do with perfectionism. But first, I need to share with you, as someone who you potentially look at has developed a pretty good physique, has been staying pretty disciplined for many, many years. Is it 6, 7 years now? 5, 6, 7 years. Maintained abs throughout, even during my many different phases, maintained my workout routine, maintained healthy eating. Yes, different phases have come and go in my life, but I have been disciplined and consistent throughout the past many, many years since I first committed to this new fitness journey that I wanted to embark on. And what I can say, as someone who you potentially look at as having accomplished some of the things that you want to accomplish within your fitness journey, let's say, I can tell you with absolute certainty, I have never, ever been perfect. There is not a month in my life where I have been perfect. And you know what? I'm not aiming to be perfect because I know that that is simply impossible. There is no way that I can be perfect because there is no such thing as perfection. I am so flawed. I have made so many mistakes and I keep making so many mistakes. But what I've done is I've fallen in love with the journey. It doesn't matter what fitness goal you reach. You're always gonna then set a new goal that you want to accomplish. It's not an end destination. It's a journey. And you got to fall in love with the journey, with the ups and the downs. And in today's episode, I'm going to share with you some things that I think could potentially help you shift your mindset and think of this in a different way and get you out of whatever patterns you've been stuck in. Firstly, I want to just share with you the basics, which is something I have been sharing in a lot of these one-on-one coaching calls. You can do keto diet. You can do the vegan diet. You can be a meat eater solely. You can do intermittent fasting. You can eat first thing in the morning. Most of these diets, they work. But the reason they work and why a lot of people potentially lose weight when they start on these diets is all have the common denominator, which is a caloric deficit. If you want to lose weight, all you have to do is be in a caloric deficit. If you know that, man, that's freeing, because that means you can eat whatever you want. As long as you're consistently in a caloric deficit, you will lose weight. So you can do whatever you want. You can do any of the diets. You can not do any of the diets and literally just eat in the way that works for you. Is that 3 big meals a day? Is that 6 meals a day? What are your favorite meals? Like, you can do anything you want. You just have to be consistently in a caloric deficit. And you can do that through movement or through eating less. It's as simple as that. When you want to build muscle, if you want to actually recomposition your body, protein is important. That's just something to keep in mind, as well as using progressive overload in your training. It's as simple as that. Anything other than that is extra. But for you to lose weight, it's all about calories in versus calories out. For you to body recomp, it's all about, yes, calories in versus calories out, but also your protein intake as well as your training, doing progressive overload. That's it. It's as simple as that. Now, the reason I believe many people get held back from wanting perfection is because they believe that they have to be so perfectly doing this new plan that they've committed to. And because that is so hard to shift all of these different things in your life, and it's so potentially restrictive as well, something goes off and then they quit. Because they believe they have to be perfect, sticking to this thing. And if they're not, then they quit. Something I've spoken with a lot of my community members of. If you're new to my podcast, I have a community where I give them workouts, nutrition, recipes, journaling challenges, which the journaling challenges are really what helps them shift their identity. We speak daily inside of our community group, and then we have these weekly calls. And something I've spoken with them about a lot is this idea that failure, I'm putting that in quotes, failure is the greatest learning lesson. If we have committed to a diet plan, let's say, and we quote unquote fail it one day, it's the greatest learning lesson, because we can then look back and see, what happened in that moment when I grabbed the chips in the cupboard over the carrots, which I had committed to grabbing the carrots. Actually, what happened was that I had been so stressed at work. Now I'm just giving an example, right? I'd been so stressed at work. I'd come home and this debate I'd had with my colleague, it was still on my mind. So I just grabbed the chips because it would make me feel better. Beautiful. Now that you know, sometimes stress can occur at work or in your personal life. What would you have needed in that moment? Maybe that is just taking a deep breath, 10 deep breaths. It is that after work, I go for a little walk to decompress before I eat anything. Maybe it is I put on a song and I sing my ass off for a minute. What would you have needed in that moment to take care of you, so that you don't continuously grab the thing that will make you feel good here and now, but you actually get to the root cause of the issue? Every single time we act out of alignment, we can look back at the quote unquote failure and learn from it, and then move on with a better knowledge moving forward, so that next time we've had a stressful day at work, we can do the thing that we just learned would have been helpful for us in the past. The other thing that I share with my challengers is that I personally love having a little refuel day. If I'm in a deficit, having one day a week where I eat at maintenance can be really, really helpful. And I think for anyone who's trying to lose weight, for instance, if you allow yourself to have one day at maintenance, maybe it's not planned, but there's going to be certain days where you maybe feel a little hungrier, and then you can choose to have that refuel day on that day. And what that will then allow you to do is, on that day where you allow yourself to eat at maintenance, let's say, you're still aligning your actions with the plan, with the thing you'd committed to. You're still sticking to the plan. If you've heard me speak about stick to the plan, something that we use inside of our community, because if you just stick to the plan, oh my goodness, we're going to achieve all our goals. because we've already created the plan. So we got to just stick to it. And by allowing ourselves to have a little refuel day, first of all, maybe our body needs just one day a week where we eat at maintenance. And that way we don't expect ourselves to every single day be so disciplined and have this deficit that we're still perfect in having that refuel day. And the next day, maybe we show up for a leg day with so much more energy because we ate a little bit more the day before, and it kind of resets us. And so if we see that day where we eat a little bit more than what's on the normal day-to-day basis and see it as a refuel day rather than a failure because it was already a part of the plan, then that's perfect progress because we're sticking to the plan, we're still making progress, and we just needed a little refuel day. Every single failure, quote unquote, is such a beautiful lesson. So if you as a perfectionist can start seeing every single one of your setbacks as a learning lesson and asking yourself, okay, I did this. Why did I do this? And what would I like to do moving forward when I'm in this situation next time? Because any person who has become successful within any field in life have failed so many times throughout the journey. It's unavoidable. And I think the people who become the most successful are the people who allow themselves to fail because they know it's a part of the journey, because they're in love with the journey and not the destination. Coming back to this idea of like, but what should I do? Should I take electrolytes? Should I intermittent fast? Should I, all these different questions that we ask ourselves as perfectionists wanting this to be perfect. A lot of the time that really is just wasting energy on the wrong things. Yes, some people may need electrolytes. That's true. But my guesses are you're going to be just fine without it. BCAAs, my guesses are you're going to be just fine without it. Yes, could it be a useful thing that you can add on throughout the journey? Absolutely. Should you take creatine or not? I think it could be really helpful, but that's not the most important thing. These supplements are supposed to be added on once we have our baselines covered. Focus on the basics. Everything else is a little bit of a waste of energy. Now, moving that on to a question that I want to ask you that may be a little bit provocative, but I think it's important that we ask ourselves this. Am I a perfectionist or am I a procrastinator, right? By wanting to make everything perfect because we don't have all the details figured out, we end up procrastinating, which is a lot easier to procrastinate than actually put in the work. Are you a perfectionist or are you a procrastinator? And this is also why I'm sharing these basic, simple things that you need to do if you want to get in the best shape of your life. It's so simple, yet we procrastinate because we think we need all the answers. If I wanted to be perfect, I would have never started this podcast because let's just say it straight up, sucked at being a podcaster at first. If I wanted to be a perfectionist, I would have never started my YouTube channel because I didn't know how to edit. I was afraid of being on the camera. Who was I to share? I wasn't knowledgeable enough. If I was a perfectionist, again, I also wouldn't have gotten in the greatest shape of my life because every time I would have a mess up failure day, then I would see myself as a failure and I would give up and go back to my old patterns. It requires failure. And the best way of learning is taking action. And all those little extra nuances that you can do in your workouts, that you can use in your nutrition, they're going to come as you go. You're going to learn as you go. I took a personal trainer certificate as one of the first things when I wanted to get in shape. I learned a good amount, but I have learned far more from my own action taking, from my own experimenting. And the same goes with the business I've built. I never went to business school. I have learned every single thing that I'm learning through action taking. I think it has been the best thing I could have ever done is just take action and figure it out as you go. The best entrepreneurs, the most successful entrepreneurs, they've shifted a million times. Yes, they maybe had a vision to start off with and an action plan to start off with. Then they've had to shift. And especially in the world that we're living in today, with AI coming out now and just like the world changing so drastically, we're going to have to just learn as we go. Stick to the basics and learn as we go because we cannot be perfect if we don't get started. And we cannot get closer to perfection unless we have a million failures behind us. The greatest learning lessons have been from our failures, right? A sentence that I have said many, many, many times that I once heard Tom Bilyeu from Impact Theory say. He didn't say it with these specific words. I don't think so, at least. But what I've continuously repeat it to myself is I will only think, do, and be what moves me towards my goals. And so whenever I've been afraid of failure, afraid of judgment, or afraid of whatever it is that I've been afraid of, I've shifted into this mindset of I will only think, be, and do what moves me towards my goals. Does it move me towards my goals, debating whether or not I should post this thing because I'm afraid of what someone would judge me for? No. Will I move towards my goals if I eat this meal over that meal? No. So I'm going to choose the other meal. Will it move me towards my goals, thinking that I'm not good enough to make this massive, crazy freaking goal happen? No. Well, and I'm just going to do it anyway. Will it make me move towards my goals if I try to be perfect in this, or if I just go and try and do my best and fail and get back up and do it again? Yes, that will move me towards my goal. Absolutely it will. And it will move you towards your goal as well. Maybe it's a sentence that you could say to yourself. I will only think, be, and do that which moves me towards my goals. Perfection can also tend to create this fixed mindset a little bit, in the sense that you think something is either good or it's bad. Let's say cheat meals, for instance. I had a conversation with someone recently where it's like, so Pernilla, do you ever have cheat meals? And I don't think of anything as cheat meals. Certain things have more calories, certain things have more fat, certain things have more protein, certain things have more sugar, but I don't have cheat meals, but I will have things that are outside of the norm very often. When we see things as good or bad, we make ourselves feel bad if we do one of the things that we've in our minds made feel bad. But if we just see things, as in certain foods move us closer to our goals, certain foods maybe we should have a little less of because it doesn't move us towards our goals, then it's way easier to live life, I would say. And I'm so much about all of these things that we want to grow. It needing to come from a place of self-love. We take care of what we love. And if we allow ourselves to live our life, but make aligned actions, choices that are aligned with what we deep down want for ourselves because we love ourselves, then we can also live more balanced. And it doesn't have to be this black or white, which can also help free us from this wanting to be so perfect, which again, I'm going to say it, there is no such thing as perfect. If you think I'm in great shape, then just know I have gotten that way from being as far away from perfect as possible, but little by little growing and learning from my mistakes and just showing up. Just show up. Just stick to the plan. The last thing that I want to share with you is that what perfection does is often it leads to hesitation. When we want to be perfect, we hesitate. It comes back to this procrastination thing, right? We hesitate towards even taking action because we don't know if it's perfect. But when we can remind ourselves of the fact that it can't be perfect anyway, because there is no such thing as perfection, then we can quit the hesitation and just act. And maybe we realize, oh, that wasn't the right way. But then we learn from that and now we know that. And then we can try something else. But you got to stick to it for a long enough time to know whether or not it works, right? You can't try a diet for 2 weeks. Maybe 2 weeks you would have a little bit of an idea of whether or not it works for you, but you need to stick to something for long enough to know that it works. And the reason I'm saying 2 weeks is because maybe you see yourself, maybe you lost 1 or 2 pounds in those 2 weeks. That means you know that it works. So that if you stick to that for 4 months, that will lead to compound into a lot of weight loss. And I'm talking about weight loss because this is what so many of these clients who I work with are looking to achieve, together with gaining strength and building muscle, which is something I'm very passionate about. So just taking action, trying something out and seeing if it works, and seeing it as a project, seeing it as a learning lesson, seeing it as an experiment. I love experimenting with my body, and it makes me get wiser on my body, what works, what doesn't work, also so that I know more to share with the people who I work with. And something that I will say about hesitation and procrastination is that when we procrastinate something or hesitate in doing the thing, oftentimes not only is it coming from a place of perfection, but it also can be because we haven't actually written down the step-by-step process that we need to do. So I recommend, if you're a part of my challenges, you can use my journaling prompts and my journaling challenges to actually gain such clarity on this. But I would really recommend that you spend 30 minutes with yourself writing down what your goal is, why that is your goal. And then from that big goal that you have, write down small little action steps that need to be taken for you to actually get to that big picture goal. Because when you have a step-by-step action plan, you'll know exactly what you need to do. And with that clarity, you can eliminate the hesitation, eliminate the procrastination, because oftentimes it's like, I want to get in great shape, but then that's so broad. Like, what do I actually need? You need to put it onto paper specific actions that you need to do, which if you want to join my community, I do give you workout programs, the nutrition structure. I literally break it down to you, but you know what you need. And so you can easily make this yourself. You know what workout plan could work for you. You know what diet could work for you if you actually question yourself on this. So question yourself on what is the first thing that you feel could be the best action step, and breaking it down and then simply sticking to the plan. Eliminate that perfectionism because it will not get you anywhere, at least not if it hasn't gotten you anywhere till now. We need a different approach. To get new results, we need to take different action. My life coach this week asked me what differentiates you from other people who do what you do, because I had given him this like big, massive goal that I want to create with my life. Then he asked me, what differentiates you from these other, let's say, coaches and people who do what you do? And I spoke about, well, I focus on high achievement and self-love and those two combined. And I think a lot of fitness coaches will only focus on the fitness aspect. And I have this ability to combine the two, the self-love and the fitness. As I was speaking on this, like brainstorming on it, he said, so you're not the type of person that gets instant results. You're the type of person that, it takes a long time. That doesn't really sell well. And then I told him, as in he's obviously just like challenging me, right? As we're working through this. I told him, no, it does happen instantly because I work on the root cause. And once you have awareness of where this is coming from, this root cause that has made you have all these patterns, once you become aware of that root cause and you see it, you have awareness on it, you cannot unsee it. And from having that awareness of what needs to change within the root of you that has developed these habits, these patterns, it shifts in an instant. Because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Sorry, that was a little side tangent, but I think it's important to note that we gotta dive deep into these things when it comes to a simple little thing. I'm putting this in quotations again, as getting in shape. We got to understand where's this pattern coming from and then changing it. And once you have that awareness as to what you need to do to change it, the perfectionism in this conversation, for instance, then you're able to make lasting change. And that's what I want for you. I want you to make lasting change because it will serve you in more ways than you can even imagine. Yes, you want to get in shape, you want to get abs, you will get those things. But what it's going to bring you, what it's going to lead to, oh my goodness, far greater things than you right now can even comprehend because it ripple effects, it compound effects into all areas of your life. My friend, thank you so much for listening. If you found this useful, the only thing I would love for you to do is share it with a friend. That is the best way to support a podcast host. And I really want to grow. Oh, and subscribe if you haven't done that. That helps me a lot as well. So that you never ever miss an episode and that we can keep on growing and evolving together on this podcast. I'm so grateful that you're here. If you want to join my community, I'll put the link below so that you can get in the best shape of your life. We are starting the April challenge soon. So that's going to be really freaking exciting. We're going to go all the way in. So if you have fitness goals for the summer, trust me, you're going to want to do this challenge because like I said, we're getting to the root so that you can make a lasting change. We're simplifying it. And we have these coaching calls every week, which are just beautiful daily chats inside of the group. It's so powerful and transformational. Really. I'm so grateful that you are here with me on this journey. I hope you go out there, have a beautiful day. And remember, as always, in order for you to grow, you have to challenge your norm.